You're listening to downloaded content, the memory palace of author, narrator, and fictional character Daniel Louis Crumpton. Make sure to hit subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And sign up for the downloaded content newsletter at downloadedcontent.com to be first in line for exclusive content.
Hey everybody, it's your humble author, narrator, and fictional character, Daniel Louis Crumpton from downloadedcontent.com. And you know it's going to be a long one if I show up in my pajamas. It's going to be a long one. I don't apologize. I require long attention spans, which is why I will never have a large following, and that's okay. So if you're new to my bullshit, go to downloadedcontent.com and please sign up for the newsletter. That's the best way to get all of the content that we put out over here first. Exclusive material goes out through the downloaded content newsletter. So please take a few minutes to go put your email address in, your first and your last name to get all this goodness direct to your inbox so you don't miss anything. Also, this is a newer endeavor of mine, downloaded content. So we would appreciate you going to everywhere that we're at on the internet and hitting subscribe or follow and hitting bells and all that good stuff. We would really appreciate it. And so I think that's about all the housekeeping I have. And let me go ahead and just set this one up, okay? Because the title Wartown is Flocked has been spinning around in my head for a while, and so I knew I had to do something with it. First of all, I'm going to assume that if you're listening to this or watching this, you have seen the last episode I did, which was called A DLC Sermon, Bonhoeffer, and a Mayoral Race on the Jones Plantation. I'm going to assume that you listened to all 2 hours and that you did your homework and watched the Jones Plantation movie free. I even provided the links in the description. So before we move forward, if you haven't heard that, go back and listen to Bonhoeffer and a Mayoral Race on the Jones Plantation in totality and watch the Jones Plantation, because you'll be missing a ton of context with this episode if you haven't. And don't comment or get butt hurt about anything that I'm going to say here if you have not done that yet, okay? Like I said, we require long attention spans here at downloadedcontent.com, and we don't apologize for it. Anyway, me and Archer the Space Noodle, we do welcome you back to our sanctum of solitude that phases in and out of your space-time continuum. And if you didn't get a chance, we're coming up on elections here, obviously, not just in the fictional city of Wartown, but, all across the country. And I have openly stated what my positions are on elections and government in general in the last episode. So refer to that. However, Archer the Space Noodle, the chief editor here, he wrote a piece that just came out called, what was it called? Fabian Velasquez, Uncomfortable Truth versus Comfortable Illusions. And so I would highly recommend you go and read my Schnoodle's piece before this November the 4th. Also moving forward, he's getting pretty good. And since he's the chief editor, whatever he says goes. So I did say in the last episode that I may or may not do an episode on Flock, more on Flock. And this is it. Now, I will let you know, if you want a lot more information about Flock and the Flock surveillance system, go to the Downloaded Content YouTube channel. And we have curated a playlist just for you called Orwell Was Right, Flock and Mass Surveillance. There's a ton of back information that you can get caught up on exactly what this is. But for those of you who want the short version, Flock security, okay? This is clearly a huge issue for yours truly. I think that it's probably one of the most important issues that everyone needs to be discussing and everyone needs to be well informed about, especially before you go to the ballot box, if you take that kind of thing seriously. And judging by the low turnout rates, most people are pretty much done with government, and who can blame them? But if you're going to try to do anything with elections, please, you need to be talking about the Flock system. It needs to be the most important issue, in my opinion, right now in our history that you need to be asking questions about. But for those of you who want the short version, not just in the fictional city of Wartown, but all across the country, if you've been driving around and you've been seeing these black poles with cameras on them with a solar panel, and they're seemingly sporadically or randomly placed throughout your municipality or your city, This is what's called the flock surveillance camera system. Okay. And you, you know, you probably didn't get asked if you wanted it in your community. They just kind of sprung up. But to give you, the short version, this is an AI driven system, a third party company called Flock. They pitch this to your local cities and council people and mayors and police departments as a crime prevention tool. But it is AI driven, and it has all of these wonderful features like facial recognition, gunshot detectors, license plate reading, cameras or lenses, and it all hooks into an AI database where essentially every person who comes anywhere in the vicinity of these flock cameras, you are being tracked, traced, and databased by a third party company that is running a subscription with your local city government to utilize this platform to do what they perceive to be crime prevention. I have ad nauseum stated that this is not for crime prevention. You can tell yourself that it's for crime prevention. You can tell, your constituents that it's to keep them safe. But at the end of the day, this is Big Brother Orwellian stuff that every one of us grew up. We all had to read 1984 in high school, I would assume. I know I did. So this is some stuff that George Orwell literally would be spinning in his grave, uh, especially to think that it's going on in America, that we're setting this up and we're patting each other on the back as if this is some wonderful crime prevention tool. It's not. It's the scariest thing ever. And if you don't understand that giving any government the ability to track everywhere you go, carte blanche, giving any government that ability, that much power, no matter how well intentioned, if you don't understand what a phenomenally bad idea that is, then there's no hope for trying to reach you on just common sense. Now, uh, let me kind of try to simplify it and keep it simple as to why I'm just diametrically opposed to the flock system and call total bullshit on anybody trying to sell it to you like it's a good thing. You guys know I look at the Bill of Rights and the Constitution as sacred documents that were drafted by fallible men. However, uh, just like all these fundamentalists around here in the South, the good Lord can use fallible men to write sacred text, right? I mean, that's what we tell each other in church on Sunday, right? That God used screwed up dudes to write, some divine scripture. It just happens to be my opinion. And again, I go into this more in Bonhoeffer and a mayoral race on the Johns Plantation. My personal belief is that the Bill of Rights is a very condensed version of the trial of Christ. Essentially, it was our founding fathers' way of making sure that the rights of the individual are protected against the mob. Okay. And so the Fourth Amendment, this is where, not just here in the fictional city of Wartown, but all across the country where people are starting to push back against Flock, the main point that they're bringing up is this is Fourth Amendment violations. Okay. So let's take a look at the Fourth Amendment, and I'll tell you where I stand on it. So the Fourth Amendment says the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. All right. Now, let me just give you some Crumptonisms. All right. Persons, papers, and effects. Essentially, if you were to boil those down to one word, it would be data. Your data. Data that you generate just by living your life. Okay. Now, we I'll get into smartphones and things like that in a little bit. But privacy is such a sacred thing. Uh, and a part of that privacy is your comings and goings, your activity, who you visit, who you see, what your travel routes are. This is all your data. This is your person's papers and effects. And according to the Fourth Amendment, okay, which is really simple language, you do not have to be an attorney to understand it. As a matter of fact, it's probably best if you're not an attorney, because attorneys seem to not understand the language at all, because this was written for the common man, okay, not an elite class. So it says the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects or data against unreasonable searches and seizures. So what's unreasonable? Well, unreasonable is without a warrant. The text defines that. All right. So let's keep going. And no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Okay, so the Fourth Amendment's real clear. The flock system, 24 hours a day, an AI system is searching everyone, along with their cars, right? And where their cars go, which is their effects. Okay. Now, you can be told by your local salespeople who are pitching this to you that they don't look at it unless there's a crime committed, and that's all well and good. However, the AI system is continuously searching particular places and particular people with no warrant. Now, let's ask ourselves this, because you're going to have people who are all for flock, and they're going to give you codes, statutes, acts, and ordinances. They may even, for a little bit of garnish, throw in some Supreme Court cases to try to confuse you with legalese that it's perfectly legal for the flock surveillance system to be monitoring your comings and your goings all the time. And I would say don't be confused by that. Don't be confused by word magic or black magic from Black's Law Dictionary. You need to keep this in mind. Are your representatives making the Fourth Amendment stronger or weaker by using any justification to monitor everywhere you go with the flock system? Keep that question in mind when you're being told this is perfectly legal and it's for your safety. Is this making your right to privacy stronger or weaker? I think you know the answer to that. So always keep that in mind when you're talking to a politician who's trying to sell you on a nanny state and a mass surveillance state. Okay? Are they making your right to be secure in your persons, papers, and effects stronger or weaker? Are they upholding their oath to defend the Constitution from enemies both foreign and domestic, no matter what? Or are they circumventing that Bill of Rights through color of law? So keep that in your mind as we move forward. Now, this episode is going to be very clip heavy. So if you are listening to me on Spotify, you might want to, pause it until you can pull over or whatever and watch the video, because we're going to be getting into a lot of clips that tell my story in my endeavor to wake up a community about the flock surveillance system. This is my story to tell. It's my truth, and I'm going to tell my story because I feel like it's my civic duty, for one thing, especially during election time where this should be on everybody's mind. So first of all, again, I am deployed near the fictional city of Warner Robins. It's a corporate entity. It's a for-profit company, play pretending to be government, like most of your municipalities. Again, go back to Bonhoeffer and listen to that entire sermon, and you'll be caught up to speed on that. So if you don't understand a lot of the references I'm making, it's most likely in Bonhoeffer and a mayoral race. So now, in my personal journey here in the fictional city of Warner Robins, when I started to see these flock cameras go up, obviously I was triggered as somebody who is, aware of what this system is, because again, going back to 1992, I have known about the smart city agenda from the United Nations Agenda 21 for a long time. So this isn't something new. This is something that's been planned for a long time. It didn't just suddenly pop up in your local city council's minds to keep you safe. This is a United Nations agenda that's been on the books for a long time. Go look it up. So when I first saw these flock cameras going up and knew what they were, myself and some other very concerned residents in the fictional city of Wartown said, we ought to do something about this. We ought to, bring awareness to what's going on. And let's go talk to our representatives. So what we did, this was shortly after Operation Rolling Thunder. So for those of you guys who aren't in the fictional city of Wartown, or you're listening, I'm sure there's something similar in your area, because come on, we live in a police state. Let's face it. So you've probably seen it. But Operation Rolling Thunder is something that the state of Georgia does, where they get as many police officers and Georgia State Patrol officers and as many as they can to parade through a city like stormtroopers from Star Wars, and set up illegal checkpoints to basically shake down the community and intimidate them and coerce them to just comply. It's the scariest shit. And I don't see how any American can support it or think that it's a good thing that they're keeping, and you hear all the propaganda about keeping, drunk drivers off the road and things like that. But history hath shown that what happens is a lot of people get violated for citations or anything they can do to just generate revenue. Okay, that's really what it's about. And it's to intimidate the populace. I know when I saw Operation Rolling Thunder coming into our city, it was very triggering, because I do suffer from legal abuse syndrome. A lot of stories I could tell you. You don't even want to know. But to be proud to be an American, and to be in a city where you see essentially a legion of stormtroopers behaving very stormtrooper-ish roll through your city to where the concrete is vibrating, it's a very triggering thing. Okay, now you couple that with flock, and it's a nightmare. Nevertheless, this incident roused a few activists in the area, and we took it upon ourselves to go to city council back in February. That'd be February 2025, so this year, and address the mayor and city council. So what I want to do is play a few clips from that city council meeting. I'm going to take selected clips. So if you want to see the entire city council meeting, then, go. I'll put the link to the full city council meeting in the description. How about that? All right. So let's take a look. So like I said, if you're listening, there's going to be a lot of commentary coming from me. I'll probably be pausing a lot, but this was back in February, where myself and some other activists wanted to address these concerns. And let's just take a peek at the citizens' comments, where yours truly will get up to speak first.
We have now concluded our action items for today's agenda. Now it's time for citizen comments. If anyone would like to make any type of a comment, question, or have a concern, you will have 3 minutes on the podium there. Please be sure to state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes on the rotunda clock, and then it will beep when your time is concluded. Please note that neither I nor council can respond to you, but we are listening. The door is now open for citizen comments.
Oh, now this is the first time I've seen this since it happened. This is Charlie Bibb, and everybody knows Charlie Bibb is a boob, and I don't give two shits for Charlie Bibb, and the feeling's mutual. So I can only imagine what he's leaning in to whisper to Keith Lawrence in here as I come up to the podium. This is the first time I've seen this since it happened, but I could just hear this weasel right now and his nasally horse shit. Anyway. Minister Crumpton, 111 Sherwood. Benjamin Franklin wrote, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." When legal loopholes and rhetorical justifications lull the public into accepting the erosion of their rights, there can be no doubt that our country and community is undergoing a constitutional crisis. This crisis is at all of our doors, regardless of party affiliation, faith, race, economic status, or any other demographic title we choose to identify with. How it got here is due to a widespread ignorance or diminishment of the founding documents that our forebears gave us to keep a republic, which is now morphing into a dystopian fascist state before all our eyes. The Fourth Amendment is very clear. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Yet under the banner of public safety, our privacy, papers, and personal effects have been compromised by mass surveillance through the flock camera system that can track, trace, and database our comings and goings, and have entangled us in an AI system that triggers automated warrants without proper judicial oversight, violating due process. While this system's implementation may have had the best of intentions, it nevertheless is in contradiction to the Fourth Amendment and repugnant to the Constitution, and should be to all who swore an oath before the Most High to defend it. To make matters worse, this month our county and community once again welcomed Operation Rolling Thunder with its parade and a show of force through our streets to announce unlawful checkpoints and aggressive warrantless stops and investigations at random of we the people, while under the guise of preventing accidents caused by drunk or distracted drivers, which may have reassured those less familiar with the Fourth Amendment's protections, but it remains an undeniable violation of our rights. I would again point you to the words of Benjamin Franklin on sacrificing liberty for safety, and add that public safety is no excuse for diminishing civil rights by any degree. And to do so during Black History Month is more of an insult to the injury, as our melanated brothers, sisters, and neighbors know all too well the cost of claiming their unalienable God-given rights more than most of us, as it is our marginalized communities that suffer the most from this sort of tyranny. You don't have to take my word for it. Just ask Mr. Law Dixon, whose rights were violated during Operation Rolling Thunder for safety and security's sake, with false allegations and charges under this endeavor in our city, forcing an apology from the Georgia State Patrol for their transgression of his rights. I urge this council to uphold the Constitution and reject any policy that undermines our rights under the color of law. The Bill of Rights is not a difficult read, and one does not require a law degree to understand it or apply it. The question is not whether these policies make us feel safer, but whether they keep us free. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I thought that was pretty clear. I think that the words of the Founding Fathers are pretty clear. If you sacrifice liberty for security, you get neither, and you deserve neither. Now, I'm pretty sure that this came as a shock to City Council and Mayor, and obviously these guys are dug into this because they all voted to implement this. So to hear one of the hoi polloi, or more than one hoi polloi, coming up to say, hey, you guys might have overstepped your bounds here, you know, they have the ability to either go, all right, we need to rethink this, maybe open it up to, public discourse before we drill into it, or get defensive. So I'll let you, as we continue on, ascertain what they chose to do. So the next person who's going to speak is the lovely Mona Lucia. Let me pull that up. And this was her comments after the Rolling Thunder debacle.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Mona Lucia, and I live at 111 Sherwood, Warner Robins. and I'm here today to bring awareness on the devastating impact of the ICE detainments on families in our community. While the headlines often reduce these incidents to mere statistics, the truth is these are deeply human stories with real lasting consequences. I'd like to share the story of someone I know personally. Her name is Cassandra, a woman living here in Houston County, whose life was upended when ICE came to her door. Her family was enjoying a peaceful evening, trying to have dinner when they came for her ex-husband, citing issues with his citizenship. The arrest wasn't just an ordeal for him, it was a traumatic event for the entire family. Her 21-year-old son, who was autistic, was completely shaken. Her 12-year-old son was terrified as officers stormed their home, disrupting their lives in a way that no child should have to experience. To make matters worse, after the arrest, they would not even let her speak to him or see him, and it's been 3 weeks. He has very serious health issues that she is in charge of, and they are not working in coordination with her to make sure his health is okay. She's now trying to take care of her family. She has 5 kids. She has exhausted her savings and now has to move out due to this isolated incident. Can you imagine the lasting emotional scars his family carries? This is not just an isolated incident. These raids and detainments are tearing families apart, often without consideration of the mental, emotional, and physical harm inflicted on innocent bystanders, particularly the children. This is not just a policy issue. This is a human rights issue. The Hispanics are a big part of this county. They make up the backbone. As a community, we cannot stand idly by while families are traumatized in the name of immigration enforcement. We need humane solutions, one that respect the dignity of every individual and prioritize the well-being of our community as a whole. I urge this county and this council to stand with families like Cassandra's and push for greater accountability and reform. Our community deserves better. If anybody would like to help, I do have Cassandra's GoFundMe. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
And so that was Mona's comments about the concerns of ICE, and good on her for bringing that to the forefront. Because let me just connect some dots for you here. With the flock system, one of the big concerns nationwide is that in municipalities and police departments where flock has been subscribed to, ICE and the Department of Homeland Security and federal agencies are utilizing your local flock systems to do things like immigration control. So this is well within the scope of concern for flock. Is the Hispanic community, specifically in the fictional city of Wartown, which there's a huge Hispanic community. They have cause to be alarmed at how flock is going to be used. But again, we'll get more in depth as we go along. I'm going to pull up another clip by Mike Jones from Controversial Conversations, and let's hear what he had to say.
Michael Jones, 6080 Lakeview Road. Good evening, Mayor, Council members. Y'all know I've been a vocal and active supporter of this administration. I've highlighted the positive things you've done in the city because I believe in giving credit where it's due. And that's exactly why I have to hold you accountable when you overstep. And let's be clear, Rolling Thunder Protocol was not about public safety. It was an overreach, an abuse of power, and a blatant scare tactic meant to intimidate the people of this city into compliance. And that is not leadership, that is not governance, that is fear-mongering. We know crime is down, and we know there are better ways to invest in public safety, yet instead of supporting real solutions like community programs, better infrastructure, and economic opportunities, you double down on over-surveillance and intimidation tactics. Let's talk about Breckenridge. Over 30 police officers and squad cars strategically placed around a heavily Hispanic neighborhood. Y'all really thought we wouldn't notice the attempted ICE-style intimidation? You claim to be protecting citizens, yet you're extorting them with these tactics. And let's be real, you've been silent on the video that we have all seen. We know what happened, so tell me, why hasn't a single one of you addressed it? Since you claim this is about bad driving and public safety, I need real data. I want to see records of residents that show the increase in reckless driving is unique to Warner Robins and not Perry or Centerville, because as it stands, the justification for heat funding looks a whole lot like a way to expand policing and revenue generation rather than actual traffic safety. So here's a real way forward. If you want to make Warner Robins safer, you don't need Rolling Thunder. You can make Warner Robins more walkable and accessible because safer streets come from better sidewalks, street lighting, crosswalks, and bike lanes. And when people feel comfortable walking in their neighborhoods, that's when crime drops. And you could use heat funding to fix the streets and not over-police them. Because you claim traffic safety is an issue, you could use that grant money to improve traffic lights, fix dangerous intersections, because bad driving doesn't need more surveillance, it needs better infrastructure. And you could invest in the community programs and not fear tactics. If crime reduction is really the goal, then we do need to invest in job training, youth programs, and mental health support, and create economic opportunities in the very neighborhoods that you're targeting with this heavy police presence. And we could form a public safety oversight committee. We need an independent civilian-led committee to review operations like Rolling Thunder and ensure transparency and accountability. If y'all believe in these tactics, you shouldn't be afraid of oversight. So here's the deal. You have 72 hours to let me know when each one of you and the police chief will be coming on a controversial conversation to defend your position. I'm going to give you a chance for accountability. If the goal is to make Warner Robins safer, the solutions are here. Community-driven, effective, and humane. But if the goal is to intimidate, surveil, and control, then Rolling Thunder is the path you'll stick with. The choice is yours, but know this, the community is watching, and we're ready to lead where you won't. We're done playing politics with people's lives, and no matter what, we will continue to demand levels of accountability and full transparency. So I'll see you soon. You know my name. You know where to find me. We can have that conversation, or we'll get the records, and we'll have it for you. Peace.
Again, go back to Bonhoeffer to get this reference, but I'm tapping on the fourth wall here. Your local government is a Netflix show, okay? If it's incorporated, it is a for-profit company, and they're putting on a show to sell you that you're actually dealing with government. And one thing that makes them very uncomfortable is when anything happens that's not a part of the plan, that's off script, okay? Because then they are forced to react to real life. And, without a script, it's a little bit difficult to do it, especially when people are calling you out for some stupid shit that you did, like implement flock and allow Rolling Thunder. So what we're going to do now is go through, and I haven't seen this since it happened, but so I'm going to be giving a little bit of commentary. We're going to go through all of your city council and mayor's responses to what the three of us had to say, and I'll be giving some snarky remarks as we do it. So of course, the first one who's going to speak is our favorite city council person, Charlie Bibb. So let's see.
Thank you all for your comments.
Let's see how he isn't supposed to respond to citizens' comments, but responds anyway.
And your concerns during your the citizen comments. Now it's time for council comments, and we're going to start on the post one side. So starting with Councilman Bibb, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Heard the comments by the citizens loud and clear. Can't say I don't disagree with you on some aspects of that. I get where you're coming from. I do know when we as citizens step out of our door, we walk into the public. And when we walk into the public in this age, there's a cell phone and a camera everywhere you look. And if we use technology to make our city safer and to track crime, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. And we're not policing the community and just taking down people's tag numbers and surveillance people. That is used when crime is committed, not to surveil people. I want to make that very clear. I know that for a fact. I had a lot of those questions too. I think things could be done a lot better too in our community to feel like we're targeting certain people, because that is not true either. It's a hard fact when we sit up here sometimes and have to make a decision to police our community to do the right thing, because that's what we're talking about, all of us doing the right thing in our community. And it is our duties as councilman and mayor to make sure that our city is safe. Not just for one individual, but for 87,000 individuals that we live together in the community. So I can't say I don't disagree with you on some things, but some things I do disagree with you on, and I would love to have that conversation with you.
You don't want to have that conversation with me. I'm calling horseshit. So he's literally had 6 minutes to try to come up with some cockamamie thing. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now. For him, a city council person, to justify people willingly and knowingly contracting with cell phone providers and being able to select their permissions. This is so far away from what the concerns of Flock are. Okay, so I'm calling bullshit on that. That is a dumb way to think about this. And as far as his comments that we're not surveilling everyone, that it's okay, the AI system is surveilling everyone blanket. Okay, it's a dragnet, a virtual dragnet. So you're wrong. You are surveilling everyone and you are taking down tag numbers. You can try to disassociate yourself by saying, we don't look at it. I don't give a shit. An AI system that has the ability to ping people and send out digital warrants, that is mass surveillance. And the remark about it's our job to keep 85,000 people. No, that is not your job. It is not government's job to keep everyone safe. That's not what governments are instituted amongst men for. Okay. And the remark about 85,000 against one, pretty sure he's referring to me, because everybody knows me and Charlie. I don't like Charlie Bibb, and there's no love lost there. So with his 6 minutes to be able to come up with something, and let me tell you something, he comes back in a minute, so we'll get back to it. Now, let me just back up and go back to what he said again, because there was so much horse shit there. It's kind of hard to shovel. Hang on.
The citizen comments. Now it's time for council comments, and we're going to start on the post one side. So starting with Councilman Bibb, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Heard the comments by the citizens loud and clear. Can't say I don't disagree with you on some aspects of that. I get where you're coming from. I do know when we as citizens step out of our door, we walk into the public. And when we walk into the public in this age, there's a cell phone and a camera everywhere you look. And if we use technology to make...
Okay. Walking into a public area knowing that there's cameras is one thing. Not having a choice or a way to opt out from a network of cameras with facial recognition and sound detectors tracking our movements and our patterns upon the roads encumbered is a completely different thing. Okay? And I know that you people listening to me have the good common sense to know there is a vast difference between living in an age where, sure, everyone has a camera. That's one thing. But having someone follow you around with a camera everywhere you go and logging that in a database that isn't even controlled by these people is completely different. So let's not try to compare apples with oranges. Living in an age with technology where there's cameras and things like that, that's one thing. I totally get that. But that's not justification for putting up a mass surveillance system that most certainly tracks everywhere you go. It's not just that it's taking pictures of you. It is logging your daily habits, where you go, who you meet, what you travel in. That is completely different from walking into a mall or a city square where people happen to have cell phones. It's not even the same topic, Charlie. Anyway.
Our city's safer. And to track crime, that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
So you're tracking crime in advance. So now we're in Philip K. Dick's Minority Report where there's pre-crime. Okay. Listen, you can't prevent crime with the flock system. You can only do something after the fact. Okay. And that's even if you want to go down that logical rabbit hole. You can't prevent crime with it. All right. Oh my God, this guy.
We're not policing the community and just taking down people's tag numbers.
Okay, yeah, you are. That's literally what Flock does, is it scans every license plate that goes by it. So no, you aren't personally taking down license plate numbers, but your digital god is. You fucking moron.
Surveillance people that is used when crime is committed.
It's on all the time. 24 hours a day, as we'll get to here shortly when I start getting into all the nice bells and whistles this thing has. You're a moron, Charlie Bibb. It's literally what you're doing.
Not to survey people. I want to make that very clear. Know that for a fact. I had a lot of those questions.
No, you didn't. You don't talk to your constituents. Let me tell you something. I talk to people all the time in the public. And for one, the people who are aware of flock, and that's not many. Most people don't know about it yet. Hopefully they'll watch this and then they'll know. But when they are fully informed about what flock is and what it can do, I have not met one person that wants boobs like Charlie Bibb to have access to flock. So no, you didn't get a lot of questions like that. Where did you get those questions? Did you get it at your local Baptist church? Now, this is let me go off on a rant real quick. Every time these people have a city council meeting, they get up there and they pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Now, for one, whatever happened to separation of church and state? Okay. I don't know. Like, I guess we're in a theocracy now. We're in the international city where we can just ostracize Buddhists or Hindus or Muslims and open up every meeting in the name of Jesus Christ. You know, I'm a follower of Christ. Okay. But I also believe in separation of church and state. But let me ask you this, Charlie Bibb. Did you get a lot of those questions at your Baptist church? Now, believe it or not, once upon a time, I was very immersed in the Baptist church. I was on my way to become a Baptist minister. I love the Bible. I love the scriptures. I was an apt pupil. Let me tell you, a very apt pupil. And to me, it is completely mind-boggling that these people who will get up at a city council meeting and pray in the name of Jesus Christ and tout to be Christians. Look, when I was in church and I was doing my biblical studies, one of the main things that we all were concerned about was end-time prophecy and things like the Antichrist and a one-world government and a one-world currency and a one-world surveillance system. So I know that any Baptist worth their salt in the scriptures would look at a proposal to implement the flock system and go, no, nope. Anybody who has sincerely read the King James Bible from cover to cover, and they look at the capabilities of flock, you have to have so much cognitive dissonance to believe in the fundamentals of the Christian faith and then also support a mass surveillance system like flock. So I call bullshit. I don't think you got a lot of those questions at all. I don't think that these people listen to their constituents at all. Maybe their own little inner circle. But look, they're not going door to door asking people if they want a mass surveillance system in their neighborhood. I call bullshit on Charlie Bibb, and I'm going to always call bullshit on Charlie Bibb because the truth of the matter is he should not be sitting where he's at all. Anyway, let's listen to more of his blather.
Done a lot better too in our community to feel like we're targeting certain people, because that is not true either.
No, the system does.
It's a hard fact when we sit up here sometimes and have to make a decision to police.
Oh, because we live in a nanny state.
Our community to do the right thing, because that's what we're talking about. All of us doing the right thing.
So he's going to force you to do the right thing. Does he hear the shit that comes out of his skull?
Community. And it is our duties as councilman and mayor to make sure that our city is safe.
Oh, God.
Not just for one individual, but for 87,000 individuals.
Hey, you dumb fuck. Guess what a republic is supposed to do? It's supposed to protect the rights of the individual from the mob. So you're completely backwards. Why don't you go and pick up your Constitution that you swore an oath to God to protect and get it right, okay? The whole point of a republic is to protect the rights of the individual, not the mob. So God, you see what I'm saying? It's so frustrating to know that all of these people up there held their hand up to the Most High to protect this document, and they don't even know what it says. They don't know what the philosophy of it truly is. They think it's a political document, and they play games with it. It's ridiculous. And, you know, anybody who takes it seriously would be as livid as me. This guy is a moron. And again, he has time to stew, and he'll come back in a minute, but let's keep going because this is already going to be a long one. Trust me.
We live together in the community. So I can't say I don't disagree with you on some things, but some things I do disagree with you on, and I would love to have that conversation with you.
You don't want to have that conversation with me, you moron. All right, let's get to the next one. So this may be out of order, I'm not sure, but this is Larry Curtis's response, and let's hear what he has to say.
Again, I am fully confident that Chief Edwards and Chief Fisher will deal with the Rolling Thunder accordingly. We have been reassured that that will be taken care of for the last time, as the last councilman that's going to talk about it. Again, let me start off by saying Happy Black History Month. I hope everybody's having a great month. I hope everybody's going out learning something about African Americans and the things that they have contributed to not just the United States, but to this world. So please, again, I encourage everybody to go out, learn something new, and not just entertainment. Drinker, awesome job, great job. I was super excited.
All right, so basically it's a let's pass the buck to Chief Edwards and Fisher, okay? You guys are Chief Fisher and Edwards' boss, okay? So that's a pass the buck type of thing. And let's happy Black History Month. While, you know, you guys are concerned about the over-policing of marginalized communities, have a happy Black History Month. So no, Larry, that's passing the buck. You guys are their bosses. And so it's not kosher to go, they got it. Nope. I mean, that's not how it's supposed to work. That's sad. That's a sad response. So here we go with Kevin Lashley.
Echoing off of what they've said, and particularly what Charlie said, there are things that I disagree with on how things are handled. I don't think that when it comes to certain situations, that particularly with what a state of Georgia program or the GSP has rolling, that we have a whole lot of say in that matter. You know, there is a hierarchy to how things work. You've got local, state, then federal. We handle what we can, but we can't overstep what they tell us. Now, if what they're telling us is wrong, then we will stand up to them. And I understand the feelings that y'all have, and I've seen it in every neighborhood. It was all throughout my post, too. I think they actually had a higher catch rate for a lot of things over in my area. But I disagree with some of the tactics they took. But we've been reassured by our police department that we will be in control of what we're going to be doing in this area. And I look to them to be the leaders in that going forward.
All right, so a little bit of commentary here. I know I was rough on Kevin Lashley 3.5 years ago. I was a little rough on Kevin. But if you want my honest to God opinion, I think that of everyone sitting up there, this is as far as city council people go, I think that Kevin Lashley probably has the best head on his shoulders. However, let me just tell you something. You heard a little bit of this hierarchy talk, okay? And I'm going to touch on that again. But Kevin, listen, man, I'm going to appeal to you as a spiritual guy, to somebody who I believe is a spiritual guy. You got a beautiful family, okay? You got a beautiful wife, beautiful daughters, and I believe that you have faith in a higher power. Pretty sure it's safe to assume that it's of the Christian faith. I am appealing to you as a man in a school of faith. Please look at your children, and I want you to really, really, really think about the future that you are bestowing upon your children by digging in to this flock surveillance system. please, as I said earlier, refer to your scriptures on where this technology will go and look your children in the face and do the right thing by your children, because it's the world that you guys are allowing here in our local area to come into our present is going to affect them. So I'm appealing to you. I'm sorry for being rough on you, but I think that you probably have the strongest backbone up there at this point. And I'm appealing to you, Kevin, to look at your family. Don't worry about playing politics. Don't worry about the fact that, maybe voting for it was kind of siding with what the Antichrist might do. But stand up to this for real, because I know you got to love your daughters and you have to know where this technology is going to go. And I know that right now it might be convenient for every one of you guys up there to act like you're one big happy family. But somebody has to stand up amongst this crowd. Now, Kevin, I want you to look at your daughters and I want you to ask yourself if the future that you want them to grow up in is a totalitarian surveillance state driven by AI. Is that what you want your girls to come up in? You're in a position to do something. I'm appealing to your conscience. Do something. Because right now, judging by what I'm hearing, and of course, further experiences in this issue, I don't think any of these other guys are going to stand up and do anything. Okay? I think that you are somebody who might stand up for what's right. Pray about it. But on the hierarchy thing, we're going to skip over here to Clifford Holmes because he really gets into it. So let's hear what he has to say about this hierarchy. And then, of course, I'm going to give some commentary. All right, so now we're going to go to the Godfather, the most incumbent up here, who's been sitting at that city council chamber probably before I got out of my daddy's backbone, Clifford Holmes. So let's listen to what he has to say. And I do remember what he had to say really put a stick in my craw, and we'll find out why as we hear him. So here.
Thank you, Mayor. Everything that has been said so far, I support it. I agree. I concur. We must say it. You've heard it so far. 1, 2, 3. You heard it 3 times. That some of the things, some of the action that took place and have taken place here in Warner Robins, we are not 100% behind it. It's a ladder, the hierarchy.
Okay, you hear hierarchy. Now, if you're a red-blooded American, you should already be getting a little triggered by this mess of a ladder and a hierarchy, and I'll get into it as to why. But we'll let Mr. Holmes, the godfather of the north side of the fictional city of Wartown, continue with his brilliance.
But we have been assured by our people at the local level that we will not sit back and sit by and allow any harm to come before or upon any of our citizens.
Okay, but you did. Okay, but you did. So it's a little too late. The reason that we're up there is because you guys did allow harm through Rolling Thunder to come to your citizens. Ask Law Dixon and several other people who, had the unfortunate traumatic event of being stopped at one of these unlawful checkpoints. So you can try to pass the buck, but you did let it happen. It's too late. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, but the responsibility for Rolling Thunder lays at all of your feet. As we now know, it was because of your actions that Rolling Thunder came through. So thank you for trying to pass the buck. But no, the buck stops with you guys on this.
Keep in mind, in whatever you do, there are hierarchies. And where you fall in that hierarchy, you should better understand what's going on. We are not. We are not laid back, waiting and accepting any and everything that comes along. And we will not. This team here, and I say team, because we are a team, and we have a great leader, and I support that leader. I support our team members. We support each other. And it started out by Councilman Bill. We don't all get along all of the time. We don't agree with each other all of the time. But we are able to disagree agreeably and continue to move on with what's best for the city of Warner Robins. Congratulations.
Okay, so they call him the Godfather, and I'm like, he's the Godfather of the north side of the fictional city of Wartown, which is the topic of a lot of conversations because it's been completely dilapidated. And, you know, what does the good book say? You shall know them by their fruits. So I'm glad that you guys are a team because you all own Flock and you all own Rolling Thunder. And let me ask you this, Mr. Holmes, in your brilliance. In this hierarchy, in this ladder, where do we the people fall? Huh? And see, this is what really infuriates me about this whole hierarchy crap. The hierarchy in this country, and I know it's all play pretend, is we, the people, are your boss. So when you are telling us to our face, there's hierarchy, well, you're just the hoi polloi. You're down there on the bottom. We have to listen to our bosses. That's bullshit. And look, I'm sorry, but that's not what you swore an oath to uphold. Okay. And I know I'm an ideologue. I get it. I understand that it's not really the way it works. We don't really give a shit about we the people and freedom and liberty and the Constitution for everybody. We just say that we do. But Mr. Holmes, where do we the people, where are we on this hierarchy? And any of you who are using that train of thought, where do we the people rank in your imaginary hierarchy? Aren't we your boss? So people of the fictional city of Wartown, when you hear these people telling you that they got bosses and guess what? It ain't you. How does that make you feel? I can tell you how it makes me feel. It makes me infuriated to hear these people tell you that you, in so many words, are at the bottom of the hierarchy. If that's the way that they think and that's the way that they're governing, then no wonder we're in the spot that we're in right now. Because the very philosophy of this country and that flag behind Madam Mayor is that the force and power of the law comes from we the people. That's Yickwo versus Hopkins. We are the source of the law, not your imaginary hierarchy. And as far as there being, this whole train of thought about state and federal and all of that, look, there's 9th and 10th Amendment in your Bill of Rights. I shouldn't have to explain to you what that means or what your duty is in regard to the 9th and the 10th Amendment when it comes to issues like this. I really shouldn't, and I'm not going to. You can. I know that you guys have a copy of this. I made sure of it. Crack it open and look at it. But this whole mess about a hierarchy, I'm sorry, but any red-blooded American who is trying to hold on to the idea of America, that should offend you, that these people are telling you there's a hierarchy, and guess what? You ain't the boss. That's all I needed to really know from this is they got bosses and you ain't it. Okay? So pound sand. Anyway, let's listen to what the godfather of future gentrification has to say in the rest of his blather.
All of those individuals received awards.
Now, awards and ceremonies. Yeah, that's the script stuff. And look, sorry if I'm coming off a little brash here, but look, Like I said, like the good book says, ye shall know them by their fruits. And if you want my opinion of the fruits of the Godfather, Clifford Holmes, drive through the north side of the fictional city of Wartown. Look at the fruit of his labor, which this is the reason why, incumbent means corrupted. Don't ever vote for an incumbent, because this is why they stay up there forever. And when you actually inspect their fruit, guess what you find? It's rotten. So Clifford Holmes, you could take your hierarchy and you can shove it up the north side of fictional city of Wartown, because that's about as much as it's worth at this point. So anyway, there's your council comments on this whole thing. Is let's pass the buck. We got bosses. You're not the boss of us. And everybody has a cell phone, so it's okay for us to mass surveil you. Now, as I said, Charlie Bibb is going to come back one more time on some stuff. But first, I think Madam Mayor had her comments. So let's get to Madam Mayor's comments. So now we're going to hear Madam Mayor's response before we get back to Charlie Bibb's second response. Even though they're not supposed to respond to citizens' comments, let's hear what LaRonda has to say.
Thank you to all the councilmen up here for your comments. And I'm going to go ahead and make my comments now too. About 15 minutes ago, we were given 72 hours to respond about a subject, and I'm going to do it in 5 minutes. The answer is, number one, Rolling Thunder did not belong to the City of Warner Robins or the City of Warner Robins Police Department. It belonged to the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. None of that includes the City of Warner Robins as far as the owner. We have to conform to the higher governments. That's why it was here. We did not bring it. We did not run it. But it was on our turf. You are correct. And we do not agree with some of the things that were done. But again, everybody has a boss. Everybody has someone outranks them. And we are outranked, unbeknownst to some, by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. And that is who owns Rolling Thunder. We did as we are required to do in the City of Warner Robins. That doesn't mean that the next time we will not have different rules, we will not have different requirements to make sure what you all saw does not occur again on the soil here in Warner Robins. And that is our mission. We make sure the record is completely clear. That did not belong to us. Number two, we have some comments by individuals who know my number. You all know me. You know my phone number. If you ever have a question about something like that major, that affects you and impacts you so negatively that you account to this government body right here, call me. Call me. If we're friends, we are friends till the end. And the end hasn't come yet. So you call me, and I will answer whatever question you have, good, bad, or indifferent. I will answer the questions because I need to make sure you are at peace with what decisions we make here as a body, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're not going to agree every time, and that's totally fine. Friends don't agree all the time. Families don't agree all the time. Mother and son, father and daughter, spouses don't always agree, and that should be no love lost. But call me next time if you have my number, because you all do. Number three, when it comes to our criminal surveillance cameras, it is exactly as described, criminal surveillance. We only go and pull the footage if we are asked with proper cause that a crime has occurred in a location in which a camera will pick up. That is the only time we check. So we pull the camera if you guys tell us to. If you don't say nothing, we don't pull the camera. So we are not sitting there watching people's moves. I don't want anybody watching how I move. Do you? How about you? How about y'all? We don't want that. How about you, Chief? You want people watching it? Nope, we don't. So we agree with you. But that's not what our cameras do. They do run the whole time. But we are people of integrity. We make sure we follow the rules, processes, and procedures to utilize our flock camera system and any other AI-related pro-policing mechanism we choose to use in the city of Warner Robins. So it may feel uncomfortable, but I'm telling you, we don't pull it unless we're asked. And if that were not true, then we would know every crime, every bad act that occurred on our city grounds before anybody ever reports it. And we don't, because we don't have time to look at these cameras unless you tell us to look. Now, if you tell us to look, we're gonna look. But just have comfort in your heart to know that we don't intend to violate anybody unless somebody has violated you. Okay? So, with that, my friends, call me. Okay? Don't block me on your social media. We're friends to the end, and I'm not going anywhere. So take it or leave it. We're friends, and we can disagree. We disagree sometimes too. Call me. Okay.
Okay, LaRonda, I love you to death, and we're friends, and I totally disagree with you on this issue, as you know. For one, there's a lot to unpack there, okay? You guys do own Rolling Thunder. Sorry. Because of the federal grant that you signed with the heat trucks or whatever, you own this. Like, you own Rolling Thunder, okay? And here's the thing. When they come back to do it again, because you've already signed contracts, you know what you're going to do when they tell you what their rules are? You're not going to do anything. You know why you're not going to do anything? You told us in this city council meeting, all of you did. You got bosses and you're outranked. So you just told us you don't have the power to tell them no. So guess what? In the future, there's nothing you're going to do. But you guys do own Rolling Thunder. You brought it here through federal grants and contracts that you signed. This is yours. You have to own Rolling Thunder. I'm so sorry. The other thing is this. The camera system, look, you guys are trying to distance yourselves by saying we don't pull the footage. Okay, that's moot. There is an AI system that never blinks and never sleeps. And it is watching all the time. So to try to disassociate flesh and blood meat puppets going and pulling footage is very, very deceitful. It's a 3-card Monty, okay? And, you know, I have in the Orwell Was Right playlist gone over multiple horror stories where nobody went and pulled footage, but the AI system triggered a series of events that causes great injury to people just trying to live their lives because of, you know, the AI having a glitch and sending out flags to local law enforcement that do incredibly horrific things. Okay. So you guys don't try to separate yourself in this way from Flock, saying we don't go pull the footage and we are people of integrity. Look, even if I gave you a little bit of grace and went with the people of integrity, you may not always be there. Okay. And you can't vouch for the integrity of every single person who has access to Flock. There are multiple lawsuits already across the country where people in police departments have been stalking their ex-wives and their ex-wives' lover and their girlfriends and girls that they want to find out what their patterns are so they can meet up at a bar or whatever. The misuses of this Flock system are already there for anybody with a keyboard to go and Google. Okay? So, no. I'm not buying the we're people of integrity that only pull the footage and it only, you know, this thing's running all the time, guys. And like I said, the all-seeing eye of the digital Aramon never sleeps and it never blinks. So, great, you're people of integrity. It doesn't negate the fact that the people are being surveilled by this system 24 hours a day. Okay? So I apologize. I know it's an election season, okay? And this didn't go with the script of everybody as one big happy family and all that good stuff. But I'm so sorry. We are friends. But LaRonda, friends don't let friends set up police states. And I'm telling you, there is no way that, like I said prior, if any of you actually read your good book and look at what this technology is capable of, and if you're people of conscience, there's no way you can continue to support this for your progeny. This is not the world you want your kids to grow up in. And again, the scapegoating with we all have a boss that outranks us. I would once again ask, in your hierarchy, are we the people your boss or not? Just be honest and say, no, I don't give a fuck what you people think. Stop interrupting our stage production with your redress of grievance. Look, man, I'm sorry, but you can be friends with any of these people, and we could all be friends, and we could all disagree. But when it comes to something as critical and as fundamental as the Fourth Amendment and the Fifth Amendment protections, this is not something that we can just be friendly and go, well, we could just agree to disagree and be friends. That's a way to disarm people who are legitimately concerned about what this system is capable of. And it's not cool to do that, you know? And to be honest with you guys, you know, I felt some kind of a way. I thought that I had slighted LaRonda I didn't plan on blackballing her or anything with this, but clearly Rolling Thunder triggered me, and clearly Flock triggers me. And guess what? Anybody with any good sense, it ought to trigger you too. And you ought to get upset about it. And you ought to let these people know that you're upset about it once you educate yourself about it. And don't let them blow smoke up your skirt that this is, you know, only angels are controlling this system. If only, but that's not the case. That's not the case. So once again, you know, like I said, LaRonda, I love you to death. And I prayed for you to have an epiphany about it doesn't matter how good it looks to get awards or recognition for Smart City and all of that stuff. All that stuff is going to burn one day. But I'll tell you what, the world and the community that you're passing off to your children up there with an AI God that tracks, traces, and databases your children forever. And they're going to grow up in a world where that's normal. And you guys have to give an account for that. Normalizing a nanny state and a police state. You guys are going to stand in front of a judge, and he is going to bring this up and go, "The fuck were you thinking? What are you going to, what is your excuse going to be when you're standing in front of Stan, the man? We got an award for it." He's going to be like, you helped build the Antichrist world. What are you, stupid? Jesus Christ, guys. Break the fourth wall. For real. Anyway, so let's get to Charlie Bibb, because he's not going to be outdone, because, you know, like I said, not only is play pretend government a fictional corporation, but it's narcissistic in nature. Keep that in mind. It'll be more important later. So let's listen to Charlie Bibb's not going to be one-upped by Madam Mayor. So let's hear what drivel's going to come out of his head. Here's Charlie Bibb.
I think little baby was taken, you probably don't know this, in one of Robin's, but within 30 minutes, they tracked down that person that took that baby, and that baby was recovered and returned back home because of flock cameras.
In our real-time crime lab.
Crime lab.
Your all-seeing eye of Aramon. Let's just call it what it is. It's Big Brother, okay? Your crime lab is Big Brother, and your flock system is the senses of Big Brother, okay? And it's so funny. You know, they always want to do that, and I said this in Bonhoeffer. A baby. The most innocent. We saved a baby in 30 minutes. Cool. And you guys will tell us that story. But you know what? Whenever countless other people's rights are violated because of the flock system, you know how much you're gonna talk about that from your bully pulpit? You're not, because it's gonna show that maybe you guys made a stupid fucking decision with this. But anyway, Charlie Bibb and his 30-minute baby.
All the technology that we used when that crime was reported and committed, that baby returned home within 30 minutes. I'm for that all day long.
Because it sounds good as a slogan, okay?
For a cell phone, you're being tracked. Just being honest.
But not by us, not us, not us.
If you have a cell phone, you're being tracked. Okay, guess what? I can opt out of being tracked by my cell phone. Okay? You can't opt out of flock, all right? But the whole 30-minute with a baby thing, that's crazy. Let's go ahead and violate everyone's Fourth Amendment. And if we can come up with one case where obviously you're going to have good stories, obviously. But again, let's go back to keep it simple, stupid. Is this strengthening your Fourth Amendment or weakening it? Okay? So through all of the pomp and circumstance and the talk, it comes back to that. Does the flock system strengthen your Fourth Amendment protections or diminish them? And that is all you need to know. So, that being the case, that's the end of this little ordeal. So we're going to take a quick break and let me cool down a little bit. Pet Archer the Space Chinook, because he always soothes me. And then we'll continue with more Wartown is Flocked. Moron.
Thank you for listening to part 1 of Wartown is Flocked. The eyes in the sky aren't angels, they're algorithms, and they're watching everything that moves. Part 2 continues soon, because Flock never sleeps. Subscribe on YouTube and Spotify for full, uncensored downloads. Follow us on Facebook for weekly live streams and fresh transmissions. And don't forget to pick up Then Came the Flood, a novel by Daniel Louis Crumpton.